Okay, we're good now. Okay. So I just want to start by telling you about me so you get to know me better, because I want to get to know all of you. So I was born in Rocky Mountain House, and I moved to Calgary when I was 20 to attend the University of Calgary. I had a few stops at Red Deer College along the way, and I met my love of my life when I was 23 and was married just over a year later. We immediately moved to Kingston, Ontario, where my husband pursued his master's in urban planning. And after graduation, I graduated with a degree in social anthropology from the University of Calgary. And I began searching for a meaningful career, and I quickly discovered that banking was not for me. And I think I told, is it Sue? Sorry. No, Sherry. I told Sherry that I often stick my head in the sand when it comes to finances and pretend I don't know anything. It probably comes from the trauma of my banking career that lasted about a year and a half. So we, after graduated from Queens, we moved to small town Alberta, Vermilion actually, in northern Alberta, and I started my career in Alberta mental health as an intake worker. And this helped me fall in love with social work and all things with people related. So in 2006, our amazing daughter was born on a small Caribbean island called St. Vincent. And after the longest pregnancy in the world, which was 14 months, we finally brought her home, and she's been spoiled rotten ever since. I love dogs. I have two dogs. I have a standard poodle, and she is 12 or 13, and she just went blind, but she thinks she's deaf as well now, so I don't know what's going on, because she's not deaf. She's just trying to orient herself in the world of blindness, I guess. And I have a Mexican mutt that I foster failured 4 years ago, and she is so psychologically damaged that she is capable of any social action with anyone she hasn't met for at least 2 months. So she's a fun dog, and you can't walk her. I grew up in the conservative Lutheran church, and I left the church many, many years ago, and that embedded theology still is in my brain from being indoctrinated in that for so long. So bear with me sometimes when I freak out and I'm like, oh my goodness, everyone's going to hell, and then I have to remind myself there is no hell. So sometimes I have to deep breathe and through that, so please be patient with me on that. And in 2010, I started working at Wild Rose United Church as a community engagement coordinator, outreach worker, and I had left the church for many years because of the conservative background I had, and we all went back to church when we joined Wild Rose United Church. And I found such freedom in the United Church with the theology and acceptance of all people. So I began to explore my call into ministry in 2012 with a lot of hesitation. I was like, no, not me, God, not me. I still like, no, God, not me. But I'm here and I'm excited to be here. And in 2016, I began seminary in Vancouver School of Theology, and I finished in a record 3.5 years, which is just unheard of, but I was determined to be done. And I finished in December of 2020. And I've worked in many roles throughout the United Church. At Wild Rose, I worked as an outreach worker and a communication person and a youth minister. And I moved over to St. Andrew's United Church in Cochrane, and I began to volunteer as a student minister. And in 2017, I took over for Ray for 5 months as he embarked on his sabbatical of bicycling across Canada. And in 2019, I took over a 1-year mat leave position at Foothills United Church, and that was an amazing experience, and I love it. And in 2021, I started my internship at Hillhurst United Church, and I'm praying I'll be ordained in May of 2022. So my passions are, I love theology. I love talking about theology, so if you love to talk about theology, please come see me. I love talking about the Bible and its relevance for today. And I especially love the Old Testament. I believe there's so much to learn in those 39 books. I love looking at the character of Jesus and Jesus' radical hospitality. I love Jesus' profound teachings and what Jesus can tell us about God, and God can tell us about Jesus. I also love learning about the past and present theologians and how they've shaped and are shaping the view of Christianity, the Bible, and the world. I am so passionate about inclusion and radical hospitality, intercultural ministry, and I believe the future of the church depends on how we see and we feel and we treat those around us who look different or think different than us. And inclusion is necessary. One of my favorite stories I'll tell you, and I'll tell you over and over again, is what I observed as I explored radical hospitality throughout my time in seminary and in the United Church, and I attended many churches in my life. And there's very few I would consider really, truly hospitable. And one church that I attended literally locks the doors on a homeless person trying to get into the worship service. And I stood there in shock as the homeless person banged on the door over and over again. And eventually just called the police on him. Another church I attended when the homeless person came into church, they asked me to get up and ask him to leave because he said something that wasn't appropriate, because he didn't know the rules around church. And then another church I worked in, an Indigenous man walked in and we had prayers of the people, open mic, and he walked up to the mic and he started to verbalize his pain. He just lost his brother and his wife. And it took 5 minutes at that mic for him to get his words out. Yet the minister left him space. The congregation left space for him. And after the service, about 25 congregation members stood in line to give this man a hug and let him know that we had heard his suffering. So I'll ask you again and again, how do we define radical hospitality at Parkdale? How can we open our doors to the world outside? I am passionate about community ministry. I don't believe our ministry should be confined to these four walls. Yeah, I'll be here when you need me, I promise. I'll have office hours and I'll be in the church every Sunday, except for I'm off because they'll probably make me leave. But I'll also be there for people in the community who are oppressed, who are marginalized and hurting, who've been racially profiled. I will visit the sick and the dying in the hospitals and the hospices in their homes, and I will be marching up and down the streets for those who need our support. I will write letters to the papers, and I will write letters of support to the government, and I will attend community events to represent Parkdale as a loving, inclusive community, and I'll ask you to participate in this. I will represent Parkdale in the interfaith community because Christianity is not the only religion that matters in the world. Other things you should know about me is I think I'm 25. I don't often act or dress my age. I like rap music and pop music a little too much. I'm a people person. I love people. I love you for who you are and not what you want to be or who you want to be. I want you to be. I just love you for who you are. I'm raw and I'm honest about myself. And I easily admit my mistakes and I'm quick to apologize and forgive. And I really don't like when people don't like me. It really bugs me. I truly believe the best ministers are vulnerable and curious. And I personally can never know enough. I love to be organized. I don't like to wait to the last minute to complete an assignment or a task. I'm kind of a neat freak, but not OCD. I don't like my space to be cluttered, and I like to be organized. But I hate picking up my clothes and by Friday night my room looks like a hurricane hit it. I have a little bit of a hippie side where I have a vegetable garden that I grow my own tomatoes and vegetables, and I sometimes buy large quantity of vegetables like corn and shuck them for hours and freeze them. I buy boxes of fruit and make jam. I love to barbecue, but not grill, but barbecue, like Southern barbecue, and I've spent hours perfecting my smoking skills. And I love to bake and cook, especially in the cooler months on my days off when there's no hurry. And this might be a shock to you, but I'm not perfect. I sometimes say and do the wrong thing. I sometimes speak without thinking. Sometimes I yell at my husband or my daughter, and I get frustrated when I lose something. And sometimes I even swear like a sailor. I have to constantly work on my boundaries because I really want to help everyone in the world, and I hate saying no. But that doesn't mean I won't, because I will. I mispronounce words all the time. Not that I don't know how to say them, but sometimes I'm just in a hurry. I get excited, I just don't say them correctly. So just bear with me. If you don't know what I'm saying, just ask me later. I don't like to sit still or stand still, which is a nightmare when I was recording at Hillhurst because I was on the camera like this for the first while. So in person, you don't notice me moving all the time, but on the camera you do. And if you see me fidgeting during meetings, just let it be. I promise I'm paying attention. I just fidget sometimes. So, and I'm addicted to my iPhone. I have a serious panic attack when I can't find it. And I feel like I need it in my presence at all times, which is not a really great skill to have, or anything. But so for fun, this is a hard one for me because I think that between seminary and COVID, I have lost my passion for what I used to do. I used to love to read, and I feel that seminary broke me. Reading those 2 books a week made me not love reading anymore. So I'm trying to get back at this and find my passion back for reading. I love walking, and I walk every day, and I have found that my pastoral care ministry and walking goes together amazingly, and I feel the best way to listen and to people in a natural environment is by walking. So please ask me to go for a walk if you're able to. And if I'm in the office and you're here and I all of a sudden disappear, it's because I love walking when I'm talking on the phone, and sometimes I just grab my phone and walk outside and talk to people. So I disappear sometimes. I used to love watching TV, but I felt like I watched TV for maybe 9 months straight during COVID, and now I'm spending less time doing this. I love going to the movie theater, but maybe I just like the snacks, I don't know. And I love watching live sports. I love watching soccer and baseball and hockey in the big stadiums. But again, I might just like the food too, I'm not sure. And Neil and I share a big passion for Calvary soccer games, and we're season ticket holders. If you don't know who that is, ask me later. And I love going to concerts of the 80s and 90s bands to relive those teen moments, I guess. And as a family, we love to travel. Our favorite destinations have been Ireland, Iceland, Scotland, Hawaii, and we love California. So lastly, I want you to know that I love ministry. It brings me great joy. Not just moment of fleeting happiness, but great, passionate joy. It fills my heart to the brim, and it overflows it. I'm so excited to embark on this journey with you. And I pray that you are ready and willing to accept me just as I am. I'm looking so forward to being your minister, to getting to know each of you, what your passions are, and what you need in your life to be fulfilled spiritually. I also want to talk for a second what I need from you. Yeah, I've had a few years of ministry experience as a student, and I've worked in a church for a long time. I think I have a pretty good grasp on ministry, but I'm still new and I can pull the new card still. I'm going to pull it every once in a while. And I do acknowledge that Parkdale had a minister here for a really, really long time. And Murray had lots of experience, and after talking to him, it's clear that he knew what he was doing. But I'm not Murray. I'm going to do things differently. And this might make you upset or angry or sad. But I want you to remember that I'm not a malicious person. I don't want to hurt anyone intentionally. So if I make you angry or upset, please just tell me. Let's talk about it. What I need from you in situations, understanding and forgiveness for the mistakes I may make. Secondly, I need you to trust me. I know trust is built, but I need you to trust me. Trust me at all times that I have the best interests of Parkdale at my heart. I want Parkdale to succeed. I want Parkdale to grow, and I want Parkdale to be a light in this world. And lastly, I need your support. I need your help. I need you to show up and get involved and volunteer and get excited for my crazy ideas along with me. Again, I cannot tell you how excited I am. You've heard this word like 50 times already, but it's really true. I'm here to serve you, and I'm here to serve Parkdale. And I look so forward to growing with you on this faith journey, learning with you and helping you and me to make this world a better place. So thank you. Amen.